to give 2 minutes talk about this also. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Felista. Warm welcome to all of you. We have joining today to hear an important topic, in our life, particularly apt to our present situation. I just wanted to say just one word on this. When we go to temple, we go to that Garbhagriha, what we call it as, that is Moolavar. As you know, many of the temples is a completely enclosed one. That Moolavar is a slot, and there is no window, ventilation, anything in that. And when we chant, or when the Sastrihal there chants some Vedic mantra or slokas in any language for that matter, it has to be in certain proper rhythm and proper thala. When he shows that moreover, it is made of certain specific material, rock material, which can give back, whatever like a echo, it will come back. So when he says certain slokas, that goes to the Moolavar, and then it reverts back, it comes back as sound waves coming back, and that creates a resonance, and it gets doubled. The waves get doubled, and when it reaches our heart, our body, it automatically calms down our mind. These are the basic principles of our temples, which are constructed years ago. Now, I'll just start with welcoming Dr.Sukumari R.Polavaram. She has a PhD in French literature from the University of Michigan and taught at premier institutions and educational institutions in the world, including USA, France, and also in India at many places, particularly at IIT Madras. Year 2012 was a great day for her. She was honored by the French government with the Chevalier rank in recognition of her service in the field of education. Her main interests during the past few years have been Gita Parayanam, chanting, to a few committed seekers of any Jain, any religion. She is also a PhD. She is actually a girl from based at Chennai. She did her BA from WCC Chennai. Then she moved to JNU at Delhi to pursue her MA. From there to USA and then to France. So I warmly welcome her, and I don't want to stay in between you and her any more moments. I again request her and appreciate her willingness to do this program for us. Thank you, all of you. Over to her.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for those kind words. Thank you, Felista, also. Hello, everyone. I don't know, how to do something very, very formally and make it I don't want to make it a boring talk. I want it to be enjoyable for everyone. And I also want everyone to share in my own joy and discovery of this whole process. I've only been learning chanting, Vedic chanting, especially for the past 10 years. Before that, I tried to learn a lot of things on my own. But you can learn any number of things today with technology, because you have YouTube, you have so many different sites, so many things. But the only thing which YouTube doesn't have yet, and maybe one day it will happen, is that it doesn't have a teacher who's correcting you and who's showing you the right way of doing things. So I thought when Felista asked me to give a talk to people from all across India, I just said, okay, many people might be like how I was 10 years ago, and they might not know much about this. So I tried to make it a little general, the introduction. But Felista also told me that she would like me to chant a little bit and give samples of different kinds of things. And that's what I'm going to do today. I've already done a brief talk, but it was a little different for the Chennai group. I'm based in Chennai today. Of course, we are reaching out to everybody in India, and the only other place where I've lived for a longer bit of time in India has been Bangalore and Delhi. So really nice to see you all from all over the place. So what I've done is this time, unlike the previous time, I've actually made a small PowerPoint presentation because I thought it will be easy for me to share, the script of some of the the mantras and things like that. So can you see my screen? Let me go into.
Yes, ma'am, we could see.
You can see, but it's kind of you can see the whole thing, right? Let me go into the layout. How do I do that? Oh, I've forgotten how to do this. I so rarely use this now. Let me go into slideshow. Yeah, that's it. Can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see? It's the full screen, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So this is what I was. The directive was, Felister just said something to do with mantras and how our minds and bodies can be controlled, or how it affects our minds and bodies. So our mind, like we think of our minds as like a little monkey, right? It goes all around the place. So when you're doing anything, right now, you might be thinking about, oh, I've got to put dinner on the table by 7 o'clock. I'm going to have my cup of tea later. Is any such thing, right? Our minds are constantly wandering. So I just thought I'll give you a little introduction to what is chanting itself. So some of you might not know this, but UNESCO declared the tradition of Vedic chanting in India as a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity. Celesta, can you remove the little notes which come up for me? I don't want to, like right now. I don't want to have that. If you can remove those little notifications. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
If you can.
Ma'am,
can.
we will take care, ma'am. We'll take care.
If you can. Okay. All right. All right. So this is an amazing thing, right? Because the UNESCO itself has found that we have this great treasure in our community on November 7th, 2008. Now, most of you must be knowing that the Vedas are generally the 4 texts, right? So the oral tradition of the Vedas consists of recitations in a particular kind of way. And this is actually the oldest unbroken tradition of chanting in existence. And the Vedic chants have been dated to have come from, at least compiled, and it might be older than that, but in a kind of a cogent kind of way, it's dated to the Iron Age. So the Iron Age would be something like 1300 BCE, which means it's roughly around 4,000 years old, 3 to 4,000 years old, which is an amazing thing. So when I chant, it makes me feel so good to think that some word which I'm uttering today, has been uttered by someone 4,000 years ago. It's such a beautiful thing. It's like eating a sweet fruit, which you can enjoy. It's like somebody has gone to the trouble of putting this forward so that someone many centuries later can actually enjoy it, the benefits of it. It's so much like planting a tree. Today we can plant a tree and then we are never maybe going to eat the fruits of that tree, but somebody down the road is going to enjoy it. And it's such a beautiful, selfless, I just cannot explain what a beautiful thing it is. I'm sure you all understand because all of you are so knowledgeable, so wise, and you know what I'm talking about. So let me move on to the next slide. So Wayne Howard, in his book, he's written a book called Veda Recitation in Varanasi, and he notes in the preface of his book that they are not just books in the usual sense. Even though you have the Vedas, which have been printed several times, especially after we have printing technology, right? They are rather tonally accented verses and hypnotic, abstruse melodies whose proper realizations demand oral instead of visual transmission, which is why, even though many people think that you can just go to YouTube and learn something, actually it is not in our parampara, actually, because we always have the Guru Shishya parampara, which is very important. And it has been unbroken for so many centuries because there's a particular way of doing things, So like my teacher, for instance, once told me, she said, especially after the online thing, has started and everyone's at home. So everyone is in various stages of work and home and all kinds of duties. So she said, she once told me, when you sit down to chant, don't leave your hair loose like that, and today I've tied my hair back, even though it's loose here, but I've tied it back. So this is something she taught me. She said, don't have it loose. Put a little bindi and sit facing east or north. Now this is something that she would not have told me in the classroom, because we are always facing east anyway, and all of us are kind of dressed up, and we're dressed to come out, so we are all like neat and spruced up and everything. But at home we have a tendency to kind of, especially because of Zoom, so these are little things. There are, all this can only be done orally, right? In YouTube nobody is going to tell you that. I like the way he's expressed it, Wayne Howard. Tonally accented verses and hypnotic. I like that, because when you chant, after a while, you do realize that it is hypnotic. If you start thinking about what your dinner is going to be while you're chanting, rest assured you're going to make a mistake. Right there, you're going to make a mistake and trip up. So it's really, really wonderful, and you'll see you'll understand what Wayne Howard is saying when I do the demo later. Yeah. Oh, okay. So every action which we have, wait, let me see. There's more actually. Let me continue. So he says they are robbed of their essence when transferred to paper. For without the human element, the innumerable nuances and the fine intonations, inseparable and necessary components of all four compilations are lost completely, right? So this is, I mean, we have technology, printing technology, so it's nice to have it, but actually there are so many little nuances. Like for instance, my teacher will tell me, this is how it is written, but while the notation is such, this is how we chant it. And sometimes she says, this is how we chant it in the South, but in the North, it's like this, you know? And so there are differences. For instance, every year I spend a month in the Shivananda ashram in north of Uttarkashi, where I teach. And the Prohit comes for every week. He comes and they do pujas, they do homas and things like that. And some of the things which he chants are unrecognizable to me because of the intonation. And then I realize, then again, catch a couple of familiar words, and then I just listen closely, and I realize, oh, I know this chant, but I chant it differently, but the words are the same. It's an amazing culture that we have. North, south, east, west, we are also connected actually. Even though we would like to think that, with all this modern states and partition and stuff like that, we like to think that we are very different, but actually we are not. We have so much actually which binds us. So the ultimate authority in Vedic matters is never the printed page, but rather the few members who are today keeping the centuries old traditions alive. So someone like my teacher, for instance, and many of the Prohits that you and I know all around India. They are the ones who are we have to be thankful to them for holding on to the traditions and passing them on. So let's move on to the next thing. This is a quotation which I have from Swami Dayananda Saraswati. Every action is guna bhuta, meant to produce a result. So why is it that we pray? What are we doing? Why are we doing all this, right? All of us want something. And it's either for two reasons. Either we want something or we don't have something, and we think that, if by doing all these things, we will somehow be successful in it, right? So whatever be the case, we are trying to produce a result. Either it is for something or to not have something. The one or the other, it's the opposite, right? So let's go into some of the chants. Well, the very first thing which everybody knows in the world, right? When they think of India, they'll immediately, if you see a foreigner and you say, oh, India, oh, right? You might have had some experiences like that. So Om, what is Om? Om, the word Om is Avati Rakshati Iti Om. Om stands for the earth, all that is above the earth, and even things which are beyond our perception. So in India, if you ask people, they say, oh, that's a country which has 33 crores of gods, 33 millions of gods they have. But actually, when you look at it, it is not that we have so many gods. It is just that everything is God. Every single thing is God. We have a tendency to think of the mountain. The mountain is special, right? The tree is special, because if you go to small villages, especially in the south, I don't know about the north, but if you go into South Indian villages, you might find a tree which is right in the middle of the fields, and you go there and someone would have lit a small lamp on a Friday evening, for instance, right? We have and they might have just put a brick there, or they might even have put turmeric and kumkum on the tree itself, and they're worshipping the tree, they're worshipping the elements, nature, everything, because everything is actually a manifestation of God. That is what we believe in this thing, in our culture and tradition, right, in Vedanta. So God is something which we believe is not something which you have to believe in. Oh, I have belief in this, I have belief in religion. No, it is something actually Vedanta says God is something which we have to try to understand, because it is a certain idea or a concept. When you say that, oh, Brahman is this and you're also Brahman, it's very easy to say, oh yeah, I understand it, I get it. But to really understand it, it takes a long time, right? As all of you must surely know. So what this Om and this Gayatri Mantra, which we talk about, Gayatri is the most popularly known mantra, right? So all of this is to make our minds think properly, decide properly, understand properly. And we are asking through the Gayatri, let there be no confusion in my mind as to what is to be done, right? So this, I mean, I'm sure all of you know this. So some of the, I've taken small little mantras where, you can, to just give examples of how you can say, hey, you know what, I'm going to start I'm getting on into this new project. It's going to be a startup, and I need to pray, I need to ask for something. And then your mom or your dad or your grandmother or somebody might tell this young person, right, come, let me teach you something. And you chant this every day, and you're going to get success. And what is it? It's just a very simple thing, right? Udmaya sahasam dhairyam buddhi shakti parakramah shadete yatra vartante tatra deva sahaya krita. So what are you telling the youngster in your family? You're saying, hey, you know what? You just need to have 6 qualities. And right there, you're giving that person guidance, and you're giving them a focal point. You're saying you have to put proper effort. You have to persevere. You shouldn't give up, because, it's a startup. You could have any number of difficulties, right? You need to have guts. You need to have wisdom. You need to have skills. You need to have resources. You have to overcome all these obstacles. And we have obstacles everywhere around us, right? And if you have all of these qualities, you work on all these qualities, right? Then the divine will definitely help you. So you put your effort through your focus on these 6 qualities, and grace will be with you, and you will have success. So a very small mantra like this, right? It is just giving a focal point. It's a directive to a young person, right? And you can tell them, and this has nothing to do with religion, creed, caste, class, nothing. This is something which you can teach anybody, right? And I'm just saying that when the young person thinks of all these things, forget young person, I'm old, and I myself need to be saying this every day, because otherwise I'll be lost without any focus. You can get lost in the samsara of everyday life. So just a small thing like this, every day the person repeats it, and every day the person, without thinking about it, is uttering these sounds, and these sounds have an effect on the mind and the body. How do sounds affect us? Now, like I was telling the Chennai group last month, Sanskrit is a unique language in a few ways. First of all, it is a language which has an extraordinary number of alphabets. It has many more alphabets than, let's say, English. English is where? Somewhere around 24, 28, something like that. I'm sorry, I don't even know the number. But I speak about 3, 4 European languages and about 3 Indian languages. So when you look at our Indian languages, they have a richness of sound, variety. Sanskrit has 44 alphabets, right? And from different parts of the throat, tongue, etc., mouth, lips, everything. Now, the other unique quality about Sanskrit, other than the fact that it is making many more parts of your mouth work, and research has shown that your tongue and your mouth has links to the brain. So you have to actually make more of an effort when you are doing Sanskrit, when you're speaking in Sanskrit or chanting, right? I'm not even going to the notation level. I'm only here. You see this, it just has a tune, but it doesn't have any notations. As we go through the slides, I'll show you some of do some of the chants with notations, and you will see what I'm saying. So one doesn't need a tremendous level of focus for this. It's just the words and the sounds. That's it. It's not about the pitch of the sound, nothing. So in Sanskrit, every root sound apparently has a meaning. It's such a wonderful, amazing thing. Every root sound has a meaning. That is the first level. The second thing is,
Ma'am, sorry for interrupting, ma'am.
Yes.
Some of the members are asking whether Hindi can be added in between. Is it possible, ma'am?
What can be added?
Hindi. Can you talk in Hindi also? They are asking.
No.
Some
My Hindi is very poor. It's very
very.
Saroji Nagar market Hindi.
Okay, go ahead.
No,
Ma'am.
I'm
No
so
problem.
sorry. I'm so
No
sorry.
problem.
Please
Go
forgive me.
ahead.
I'll try to speak slower. Yeah, if it's a problem. Sorry. So Sanskrit has every root sound has a meaning. So, for instance, if you say um, um, Dasharathaya Vitmahe, no, wait, Sita Vallabhaya Dhimahi. So, when you say Dhimahi, right, Dhi is a sound which means bless, bless me. So, if you say Dhimahi, there is no meaning to it. So, every sound has to be uttered correctly, precisely. That is one thing. So, it has a meaning. It is not like in English language or French where I say, oh, enchanté, comment allez-vous? And the sounds really don't have any meaning as such. Or if I say that my name is John, or if I say my name is Francois, it doesn't really have any meaning. It might refer to some person from the past, right? Saint John, let's say. But it doesn't, the word John by itself has no meaning. Whereas in India, if you take our culture, if you say, my name is Gayatri, Gayatri has a meaning, several meanings, in fact, right? So it is so heavy with meaning and significance and symbolism, Sanskrit. The other interesting fact about Sanskrit is every letter is associated with a devata, right? There are many stories to that. So some people say, okay, there are many minor devatas and things like that. So it could be like Kakini, Dharini, whatever, that kind of thing. There is one story which says that Shiva, after he had the oh, one second, let me just check my computer. I have my charge is going. Okay. So there is a story which says that Shiva, when he was so upset about the whole Sati thing, when she was upset with her father, all of that, and her body was chopped up into so many pieces, right? And you have those Shakti Pitas and things like that. There is a story which says that each one of those pieces of Shakti are representative of one sound of the Sanskrit alphabet. So there are many such stories, I won't go into all of that, but I'm just trying to emphasize that every sound in the Sanskrit language is very important. And therefore, that verbal enunciation is extremely important. Okay. So let's go to another example of Gayatri, other mantras. So why is Gayatri considered such a great prayer? In the Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna says, out of all the mantras, right? He says, I am Om and I am Gayatri, right? So why? Gayatri is one thing where you can pray for all kinds of things, wealth, power, this, that, and all that. But this is for something to give clarity. That is why they tell us, you please chant Gayatri every day. In the confusing, dark times that we are going through today, this is something which all of us need to chant. We just need light and clarity in the mind, because we don't know what to think. We don't know how to handle the situation. Unprecedented, right? This is a historical moment in our lives. I mean, we would have been better off without it, but we don't have a choice, right? So that Lord who burns all the confusions, please allow me to be at the right time, at the right place, at the right time, right? Because such a thing is not in our hands. So the only thing which can help us is grace, divine grace. Just burn all the confusing dark bits in my head. Just let there be clarity, let there be light, right? There are many reasons why Gayatri is a very powerful mantra, but that I'm just giving you a few, few insights into that. So Gayatri mantra, all of you know it, right? Tatsa vitarvare enyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yo nah prachodayat. So last time I had shared one unique thing, which this is something which I didn't know before I started learning Vedic chanting. So I thought I would share it. It's so unique, it's beautiful. Something called a Ghana Pataha. A Ghana Pataha is actually a way of memorizing any particular chant and passing it on exactly the way it should be, right? For generations and generations and centuries. So here you have, last time I had shown an example of a Ganapataha with the Samhita, which is basically what I just chanted is the Samhita. It's just the mantra. Then you have the Krama, where you have 1, 2, the first word and the second word. Then the second sentence is second and third word. Third word will have third and fourth word, like that. So you know exactly what the order of the words are, right? Then you have Jata, and then you have Ghana, and there are many, many other combinations which are very, very complex. If for those of you who are interested in it, there's a fantastic person who's working very hard to put all of this out on YouTube. He does a lot of research, a lot of practice. He is in fact a CFO. He was a CFO. I don't know if you might have heard of him. He lives in Bangalore, Mr. Suresh Bhatt. If you go to YouTube, you can find him by just typing in ghanapati.com. Okay, GHANAPATI, I think it is. Okay, so just go there, and he has tons of mantras, really nice. I will send 3 to Felista, because he has just released last week 3 mantras to fight the coronavirus, which is really nice. It's a very beautiful one. You don't have to learn it. You can just listen to it at home, play it, so those sounds and vibrations are in the house. So I thought I'll do a demo of just this. I have 2 different ones, because I didn't know which one is easier to see. Please tell me whether this first one is easier to see, or this one, the second one, this one. Which is easier? First. Okay, go to the first. Somebody pointed one, Sunita ma'am. So I'm going to go with that. Okay, all right. So this is it, and I'm going to chant this for you. Okay. Om Tatsavitussavitustat-tatsaviturvarenyam varenyagum savitustat-tatsaviturvarenyam saviturvarenyam varenyagum savitussaviturvarenyam bhargo bhargo varenyagum savitussaviturvarenyam bhargaha Varenyam Bhargo Bhargo Varenyam Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Bhargo Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Devasya Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Devasya Dhimahi धीमहि ते धीमहि धियो यो नो यो नः यो नः प्रचोदयात् नो यो नः प्रचोदयात् नो नः प्रचोदयादिति प्रचोदयात् Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Please forgive me for any errors which I might have committed. As you can see here, It is a fantastic lung exercise, right? Because it is so hard sometimes to be able to hold your breath for the entire line. What they have done here is amazing. So if you just take, let me give you an example of, for instance, the actual Samhita. The Samhita of this, Samhita meaning the plain basic mantra of this Ghanapataha is just this. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhemahi Dhiyo yo nah prachodayat. That's it. Then they take combinations and they do 1, 2, 2, 3, right? So krama goes like this. Om tat savetohu. Word 1 and 2. Second line, 2 and 3. Savetur varenyam. Sentence 3. Varenyam bhargaha. Bhargo devasya. Devasya dhemahi. Dhemahi te. Dhemahi. Dheyo yaha. Yo naha. Nah prachodayat. Prachodayadete prachodayat. So they have more and more complex variations of this, and this builds your memory in such a tremendous way. Can you imagine, when you were kids and your parents were trying to teach you the multiplication tables, and you imagine if you had had this exercise along with that, how much of brain power you would have had. You know, I'll just give you a personal anecdote. When I was doing my studies in the US, there was research which came out saying, oh, don't force your children to learn multiplication tables by heart. It's torture and it's really not good, and it does nothing for the child and everything. 3 or 4 years later, research came out again and they said, oh, actually, you know what? We've realized that apparently it builds brain circuits, these grooves, and you have what is called as memory, right? And now they say even muscles have memory. Imagine. So if you've done exercise in your youth, and as an older person, as I am today, overweight and things like that, because I'm not doing that much of sport, your muscle has memory. The cells of your muscles have memory. So if you start exercising, those muscles know how to respond. That is why they tell you, even if you are 90 years old, start exercising. Your muscles will help you. They are there, they have their own little brains. So imagine what our brains will have as memory if we are learning things like this as children, right? So there is so much in our culture which is fantastic, unique, and so much to learn, you know. Anyway, good that we are at least I'm very happy that I learned some of these things at least as an adult, even if I didn't learn it as a child. Growing up, my parents never taught me anything. The only thing was, hey, have a bath morning and evening, and you come and just say a small prayer at the lamp. That's it, you know. That's all that they told us to do. They didn't really teach us anything, even though my father knew. So, for instance, if you have, this Ghanapataha, you are asking for clarity. If you are saying this, if you can't say the Ghanapataha, no problem. Just say the Gayatri Mantra 12 times a day. If you can, say it when you wake up. If you can, if you have time, say it again at sunset. Say it whenever you want. The sun is actually always there, even in darkness. We don't think of it like that, but the sun is always there. It's just that we can't see it, right? So say it anytime. In times of confusion, just say it and say, may take a sankalpa. When you are starting the prayer, just say, hey, you know what, can you give me some clarity on this issue? And just chant. That's it. Your mind is emptying itself as you are chanting, because you're only focusing on the chant. You're not focusing on the worry or the reason why you are praying, why you are asking for that, right? So just chant and then, put it aside. Definitely clarity will grow in us, right? So let's go to this mantra. This is called the Ayur Mantra. And it is, as you can see, it's very short. It has the first word and the last word are repetitive. Only the middle 12 words are changing, right? So when we are getting up in the morning and we are chanting a small thing like this, now you can see in this and in the previous one, there are small lines below and above, right? So these are all Vedic chants. They have notations. So other than the word, other than the pronunciation of the word, I also have to pay attention. I have to take it to the next level. I have to pay attention to the pitch. Am I doing it at a lower pitch or a higher pitch? Okay. So if you want me to chant this, I will chant this as well. Please say yes or no. If you don't raise your hand, I won't. Yes. Okay. So I'll just do this. This is something which, although all of you can recognize the words, right? Ayur, pranam, apanam, dhyanam. These are all the energy centers in our energy functions in our body, right? Chakshu, the eyes, shrotram, right? Mano, the mind, vach, vacham, atmanam, pratishtham, man and mayi dehi, right? They're asking for all of these to be blessed and protected and all that. Ayur mantraha. Om Ayurdhehi. Om Pranandhehi. Om Apanandhehi. Om Vyanandhehi. Om Chakshurdhehi. Om Shrotrandhehi. Om Manodhehi. Om Vachandhehi. Om Atmanandhehi. Om Pratisthandhehi. Om Mandhehi. Om Mayidhehi. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. This is just a small thing. If we are saying this every day, right, and many people do actually, they might not do it in a Vedic thing. They'll just say Ayur, Pranam, Vyanam, Apanam, Vyanam, that kind of thing. It doesn't matter. It for that those few seconds, we are focusing on something within us, and we are trying to say, hey, you know what? I could use with a little help here. I could use with some of some kind of health and positive energy and good vibrations right here in this particular aspect of my life, right? So many of you have heard of the Mahamrityunjaya mantra, right? Last time I think people were had asked me for this, so that's why I brought it up here. So what is the meaning of this verse? You all must have heard of this verse, right? It is a part of the Rudram, and some people feel say that the Rudram actually stops in the previous line. Some people chant even this verse. I don't know the details of that. I was taught with this verse as well. So this Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urva Rukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiya Maamritat. So when I am ready for leaving this body, let me just roll away like the ripe cucumber which rolls off the vine. Nobody comes to cut it. It just breaks off from the main thing and is gone. What are you doing? You're only shedding that particular body. You're just taking off the set of old clothes. You're going to don a new garb soon, right? But during these times of stress, fear, anxiety, all of that, this is again a very good protective mantra to chant 9 times anytime you want, right? I will chant this. Om Trambakay Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mokshiya Mamritaat. 9 times you can say it. Even if you don't know it as a Vedic chant, I know many people know this mantra just simply like, in different tunes. Doesn't matter, right? You can chant it however you want. Now, this is a new mantra which I have learned actually. It's called the Atrinatva. It was first introduced to me by Swami Omkarananda, who unfortunately today as we speak is in hospital. This is what it's a very, very rare old mantra which he pulled out, and he said last March actually he taught us, he sent it to everybody, and he said, please chant this for India and the world, right? The meaning of this Vedic mantra, Atrinatva, is actually to kill germs. It's amazing, you know. I have learned a suktam where it is for cancer cells. You know, I did not even know that such a thing. I tend to think of cancer as a modern disease, but this suktam talks about how, you know, to kill off all of these cancerous cells in the body. So there is so much in our culture, there is so much which we have to discover, so much to learn, so much to enjoy, so much to pass on to the next generation. So this jantra says, I am killing you with this mantra which is revealed by these rishis. Through this mantra, right, all the leaders of the germ clan will also be similarly killed. The mother and the father, meaning not literally, but the origin of that germ, that should be killed. All types of germs, whether it is small, white, black, green, whatever, all should be killed. Germs within the bodies of animals, imagine that. Today we are talking about, you know, COVID and bat and all that, but these people, though so many years ago, they are saying the germs lying within the bodies of animals like cows and horses are killed, and we are offering this harvest during the homas for our protection. So please keep all these germs stuck within Yama's teeth. Okay, and this crushing sound of them being killed can be heard. Wasn't it an amazing mantra? Would you believe that this is such an old thing, dating from centuries and centuries, millennia? Amazing. When I first heard about it and learned it, I was really gobsmacked. You know, it was quite an amazing thing. So this is the mantra here which I have put up, right? I will chant this for you. Yes. Definitely would like to end with this. I chant this every day. Every day I chant it. At least once, minimum once I chant it. And I have taken, I try to take the sankalpa of, you know, India, world, things like that every time I'm chanting it. This is from the Krishna Yajur Veda Taitriya Aranyaka, and it is for destroying germs and viruses. Om Atrina Krime Hanmi Kanvena Jamadaknina Veshvavasor Brahmana Hataha Krimina Gumraja Apyeshagasthapater Hataha Atho Mata Atho Pita Atho Osthura Atho Kshudraha Atho Krishna Atho Shvetaha Atho Ashatika Hataha Shvetabhis Saha Sarve Hataha Aharavatya Shritasya Havisho Yatha Tatsatyam Yadamoyamasya Jambhayoho Adadhami Tathahi Tat Khanphanmrasi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So you can feel how powerful this is, isn't it? I will share a recording of this mantra with Felista. Felista, I request you, please share it with everyone. Everyone can at least listen to it every day in their homes whenever they want. Okay.
Sure,
This has been put out by the Satya Sai organization, the international organization actually, and I happen to have it because my teacher sent it to me. So I will share it with everyone. Okay. So I'm just because we don't have time, I'm just touching upon a few other things which, you know, there is so much around us, right? So I spoke about memory and Ganapataha, but in those Ganapatas like for Mrityunjaya mantra, there is a Ganapata for that also. So each mantra itself can be for so many different things. I just touched on one aspect of the Ganapata, which is of course memory. If you take Hanuman Chalisa, why is it that people are chanting a lot of Hanuman Chalisa these days, right? He is the son of the wind god. And this, what is recent research showing? I just read an article in the New York Times yesterday, actually, and it was talking about how the WHO has been remiss in passing on the information, how they've been slow in, in sharing this information with the world. Now they have realized, you know, how 12 months ago we were all washing everything which came into the house. We were trying to sanitize everything because we didn't know whether it was on surfaces. Now they are saying it is only airborne. And now they're saying that it can even, go 6 feet across 6 feet and things like that. So people are chanting Hanuman Chalisa because he is in charge of the air. He can control this. So this is because he is, Pavan. He can fight anything which is airborne. So that is why people are chanting Hanuman Chalisa these days. Mahishasura Mardini, because she is going to stall all dangers. She is going to keep us protected. So a lot of people I know are chanting these two things every day. People who don't know Vedic chanting are chanting these. Right? These are all easy. Anybody can. If you can't chant it, no problem. Put it on YouTube and at least listen to it. Right? That is the fantastic thing. We at least have the benefit of technology. Sometimes it seems like a curse, especially when you see the horrible WhatsApp messages which keep coming and coming and coming, right? But that is something which is within our control. We can say, hey, no, I'm not going to look at this, or I'm going to stay away from this, or I'm going to do it only 1 hour a day, that kind of thing. But we have access to things like YouTube, which we can access. We have Amazon Music, Spotify. We have so many different music apps, and we can find all these things and listen to them even if we don't know how to chant it. And we can download so many mantras from the net, right? You just go onto the net and you can find Google, and it's such a blessing, Google. You can find so many things. So in Saundarya Lahari, for instance, verse number 20, it is for general health. If you want long life, you chant verse 14. If you want your spouse to have long life, verse 28. I've just given a few things which my teacher has told me, right? 30, he said 36 to 41 you do. It's for all ailments, right? And he himself, my teacher is 88 years old. I have a separate teacher for Saundarya Lahari alone, because he is considered a very, he's been teaching it for decades. He's 88 years old. He's been teaching it for 50 years or more in his life. So I was very blessed to have learned this from him. So he himself is a cancer survivor. Imagine throat cancer for a musician, Hindustani vocalist. He had throat cancer, and he said, every day I chanted verse number 36, Tavagnya, holding my throat. Every day I chanted that. And he chants Saundarya Lahari anyway every day at 4 o'clock when he wakes up and does his puja. But over and above that, he used to chant this 108 times every day, that verse alone. So there are so many things in our traditions, right? We just have to reach out, find, and do it. He said 62 was for teeth, 41 if you have any gallbladder, stomach issues, that kind of thing, 95 for eyesight. But talking about eyesight, we know Aditya Hridayam is also for eyesight, because Aditya Hridayam addresses the sun god. Surya is the Digdevata for eyes. So we know all these things. It's just that we have chosen to ignore it, or maybe, I should not say that. There are many of you who must be doing all these things. I will talk about myself. I did not know a lot of things over the past 20 years. I have learned a lot. So Aditya Hridayam, even for the psychology of fear, Rama is standing there on the battlefield and is exhausted. All of us are exhausted, aren't we, with this COVID thing? After 1 year, we thought things would get better, but no, suddenly we are hit with a second wave. And while we are already reeling under the effect of our second wave, people are already talking about the third wave. We are like Rama in that battlefield. At the end of the Ramayana, he's standing there and he is like exhausted. All the gods have come down to watch him. He is like Uttama Purusha. He has come to fight the dharmic battle. And but he's like Arjuna in the Mahabharata, just wanting to throw down his weapons and throw his hands up and say, hey, I just can't do this, and Agastya is there. Agastya has come with all the other gods, and Agastya says, come on, Rama, I'll teach you something. I'll teach you the Aditya Hridayam. This is it's a very secret mantra, and it is meant for addressing Surya and asking him, you are from that same family, right? The Surya Vamshi. You ask him to give you energy. You ask him to be with you, and you will win this war, right? So Agastya on the battlefield is teaching Rama the Aditya Hridayam, and of course, lo and behold, Rama is going to win, right? We all know that. And even Agastya himself knows that. But Rama, having taken the birth of a human being, does not know that, right? At that time, he does not know that, right? So we are like him. We all have the divine in us, right? We all have Brahman in us, but we have not realized that yet. And I mean, some of you might have, I have not, even though I think about it and try to contemplate and reflect on it and pray for moksha, but it's an ongoing process, right? So like Rama, we have Aditya Hridayam. Anytime we feel low, we are feeling fearful, anxious, pick it up, listen to it, chant it, teach your children, teach your grandchildren, teach your spouse, teach anybody. If you know it, teach people. Or if you don't know it, you say, come, I'll just chant it for you. Vishnu Sahasrama. I heard this story recently about verse 44. He was saying, my mother was in a coma. She was in the hospital, and I took my mother's horoscope and mine, and he was a son, and he has 3 other sisters, and he went to the astrologer and asked him, please, can you look at this and just tell me whether my mother will survive or not, looking at the horoscope. And that man told him, go take Vishnu Sahasrama, verse 44. Go sit at your mother's, bed, and you just chant this. And he says that they took it on as a challenge. And he said he and his 3 siblings, his sisters, they said, they split it up amongst themselves. They said, from 8 to 10 you do it, from 10 to 12 I'll do it, from 12 to 2 she'll do it, like that, 1 2 3 4, continuous non-stop. They did it. Within 3 months the mother was back home, in full health. Verse number 44. Vaikuntah Purusha Prana Pranadah Pranava Prituhu Hiranyagarbha Shatrughnyo Vyapta Vayur Adhokshajaha. He told this man, apparently the astrologer told him to do only that first line. Vaikuntah Purusha Prana Pranadah Pranava Prituhu. He said, keep on chanting that. Can you imagine? There are so many verses. Like Vishnu Sahasrama is special too. There are so many verses in it which can give you specific benefits. 65, he says later, even though he came from a good family, financially well off, he said, I went through hardship in my life. And that same the astrologer told me, you chant 65. Chanted 65 and got out of financial difficulties. Why is this important? All of us are going to face, if we are not already facing financial difficulties, we will face it, right? Because the economy is such, we cannot blame anybody. Life has come to a standstill. This is going to be a problem. All of us might be worried about, hey, is my pension going to hold out? Are my children going to make it? I have a son who's in 12th standard. He's waiting to know about the board exam. I don't know what his future is going to be. I don't know what his college life is going to be. We are all in limbo. We don't know what's going to happen. How am I going to be able to handle all this? All of us have troubles, right? So the Lalita Sahasranamam, I'm just giving one example. Verse 155 for those who want to have children and who have problems. But there is so much in Lalita also. So much. If you have young children, they have anger issues. Ugram, Veeram, do that. Narsimha Stotram, right? So many things like that. And then, of course, in our Vedantic culture, we have these wonderful prayers which are just simple, eternal. It doesn't address any one God per se, right? Asatoma Satkamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Lead me from death to deathlessness. All of us are Brahman. We have it in us, but we are only afraid because we are so attached to this body, mind, sense complex, right? But we are beyond all this, as Krishna has shown in the Bhagavad Gita, right? So much more. Why are you crying, Arjuna? Why? You are beyond all this. You were not born. That Atma in you is not born. It cannot be born. It is eternal. It knows neither birth nor death. It is always there, right? You don't have to think of it even in only in the Hindu context. You can take it in any religion. That God, that divine, that consciousness, that grace is always there and will always be there, right? The universal peace prayer which we have, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. This is a prayer which all of us have for everybody, no matter what their color, race, religion, where they are, their geography, their status, we don't care. This is something which we can pray for everybody, right? And at the end of the day, what is it that we control? What do we have in our hands? Nothing, right? So we just surrender to the divine. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि सर्वं श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु. As he has said in the Bhagavad Gita, just surrender. The chapter 18 verse 66, right? Just says, don't worry about anything. Just surrender everything, right? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami ma shuchah. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all so much for listening to me so patiently. God bless all of you and all of us worldwide. May you all be well, and all those prayers go to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. It was excellent. And there are many questions being posted in the chat box for ma'am. I request Kasi sir to go ahead with, putting down the questions to ma'am. Kasi sir?
Kasi sir?
I'm sorry, I was not looking at the chat at all.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. We too don't want to disturb you. We didn't like to disturb you time, but now we wanted to consolidate. Kashi Vishwanathan sir, are you there? You were
Yes, I am there.
Yeah,
there.
please go
I will
ahead. Yeah.
read those questions.
Yeah.
I will open.
And I'm sorry, I want to apologize for not speaking in Hindi. My Hindi is very bad and I don't want to sound terrible. So I'm sorry, I just stuck to English. So sorry.
No problem. Yeah.
I will open the chat. I will see right from the beginning, there are so many posts appreciating your way of conducting the session. And
honestly, I have to say, I feel that I don't know anything at all. Really, I just feel that I know very, 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 very little. So
you are very, very humble. You can see it.
Oh, no, sir, it's the truth, sir. So much to know.
Yes, sir, please go ahead with your first question.
Yeah, I will go through that. That was Madhugupta has posted, wanted to have that in Hindi, and you apologize for that.
माफ कीजिए, हमारा हिंदी अच्छा नहीं है. बहुत साउथ इंडियन हिंदी है.
Any posts or appreciation only it is coming. The first question I am seeing posted by Jyoti Taravana. I hope I am spelling the name correctly, Jyoti Taravana. I was told that you have to be initiated by your father or guru for chanting the Gayatri Mantra. Till then, you should only listen. Is it true?
Yes, that is true in the sense that, in the South, at least, I don't know how it is in the North. I'm sure it is all over India. We have the same thing. We have that initiation ceremony for boys, right? And where the father, whispers into his son's ears and teaches him the Gayatri and things like that. I choose to follow whatever is very convenient to me, which is basically Swami Dayananda Saraswati has told us that we can chant everything. So even including the Rudram, which I chant. So Rudram, Vishnu Sahasranama, many people say that ladies should not chant. Vaishnavites say ladies should not chant Vishnu Sahasranama. Some of the Shaivites say ladies should not chant Rudram. Okay, but I follow what Swami Dayananda has said, which is everybody can chant anything, all of these things. So I just do that. And even Puttaparthi Sai Baba has said that you can chant anything. And in fact, Swamiji has also said, even if you have your periods, it's okay, you can still chant. My Vedic chanting teacher has told me, if you have your periods, you should not do Vedic chanting. I just follow whatever my guru says. So certain days, we just don't do certain things. So,
actually, you have answered another next question without I am reading it. Actually, Vijay Lakshmi has posted, why is it said that ladies are not supposed to chant mantras? That
It
was
is
the
not
question.
true. It is not true, actually. You know, see, in our culture, which is so old, and there are so many. I will actually send something to Felista on some of the lady scholars, like for instance, like a Gargi and things like that. Right, in those days, who were even Adi Shankaracharya, right? He had a lady who was her husband was the one who had a debate with him, and then she tells him, "What do you know? After all, you're not a householder. So what are you talking about?" And he says, "Yes, she's right. I have never been a householder," right? You know that story, all of you. So he goes and lives as a householder for a month in a king's body, and then comes back and talks. He says, "Only now I have I'm eligible to talk," which is right. So she was a great scholar in those days. It is not true at all. Please, ladies, do not believe that. It is not true.
Very good, very good. The next one is Prabha. Prabha has posted, will Tavadhyana, I don't know what is that, Tavadhyana, help any cancer? I don't understand, or how to pronounce it, I don't know. It is
Tavagnya chakra.
Tavagnya.
Yes, in the Saundra Lahari. Yes,
Cancer, will it treat cancer? Help.
Yes.
Okay, then
That is what my
answers-
teacher told me.
Okay, that answers Prabha's question.
His name is Ramamurthy Rao, sir, Kannadiga, who lives in Chennai, Hindustani scholar, Sanskrit scholar, Carnatic music scholar, and a gold medalist in all three, and who is an expert and known in Chennai for Soundarya.
That's very nice of you to have shared that information. And then what is Ugram Veeram? Please explain. Nagaraj has posted. Nagaraj from Bangalore.
It is the Nrasimha mantra. It is available. If you put Ugram Veeram in Google, it will come up. It's a very small mantra, and they say that it is very good to chant for past runa which you have. And they also say that if you have children in the house, sometimes children have, especially when they're going through the teenage years and things like that, or if they are at work and there's a lot of stress, lot of anger, which is shown in the house, and we don't know how to handle. It is better for us to be silent and to instead chant these things for them, so that we will have a good atmosphere in the house. After all, we want to bless everybody, not only our children. I even pray for my maid, my staff, everybody. So we want everybody around us to be happy and safe and comfortable and healthy, all that, right? So you can do things like that. So Ugram Veeram, you can just find it on the net. Very easy, sir.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Nagaraj must have got his answer from the answer. He is, after that, next question, I'm just going through. All appreciation, excellent session, very interesting. Thank you, ma'am. They want the number. What is that number? I don't know what they're asking for.
If anybody wants to learn Soundarya Lahari from my teacher, he also teaches Bhagavad Gita also. He taught me Soundarya Lahari, 100 verses in 100 different ragas. It's wonderful. If you want, I can pass his number on through Felista. And he's teaching
He wants
online
to
now.
know about that person. That information, if you can pass it on to
I will pass it on to Felista and she can share. Ramamurthy Rao sir he is 88. You will not believe. He is like that Roadrunner cartoon, full energy. That bunny, Energizer bunny is like that. He has more energy than me. He's a wonderful teacher. He'll be very happy to teach anyone. He's so happy to teach people. So definitely I will pass on his number to everybody.
Then the next question is, Dia, how do you connect to you, please? Do you teach?
Yes, I teach.
Okay.
I teach.
But how to connect you? They want.
I'll give my number and send a message to Felista, which she can share with everybody. Felista, I'm sorry, I'm giving you extra work.
I don't know, Dia, from where which center, we don't know.
It's a pressure.
Felista, you can share to all the centers in that.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Right. Next, all appreciation. Of course, everybody is happy to have attended.
I'm so happy that everybody's happy. Really, when you chant, you become happy. I'll tell you why. Because in the class, when you're in that 1 hour, you're focused on the word, the sound, and then, you want to do everything correctly. My teacher told me, my Vedic chanting teacher told me, don't worry about the meaning at all. Adu thana varum. she said, keeps on saying, you just focus on the sound and being absolutely perfect in your rendition. That's it.
And you have
The
said
meaning
that,
will.
you have said that even if you cannot pronounce properly, if the recorded one, if you play at home, that vibration will be filling your house.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes.
That is very
I will
helpful.
definitely send the Atrinatva to everybody. Definitely, I will send it. Actually, we don't have time. Otherwise, it would have been nice. I will share another small mantra, which there's no tune, nothing. Actually, there is a recording. Swami Omkarananda sent us that also with a recording. I will share all these things with Felista. Felista, that is also for virus only.
Okay,
Protection.
ma'am.
It is based on the Rudram. On Shiva's names actually. So it is, let me see if I can find it. Yeah.
Now, another question next is Nagaraj has again asked, what is the purpose of Dhanapata, way of reciting mantra?
Ghanapataha, it is because, you have the number of, the how do I say it? The lineup of sounds. It is trying to make sure that a person doesn't, instead of saying Tat Savitur Varenyam, that the person shouldn't say Savitur Tat Varenyam. So how is it that from 3000 years ago, today also I am chanting that same chant in exactly the same order? That order is given through these patahas, where they do a combination. The first one is 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, like that. The next one is 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2. That is Jata. And then if you go to Ghanapataha, it will be 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. They're talking about the words. So it is a very complex kind of notation. So if you do that, it's kind of, you're making sure this is the only way you can do it is not any other way. Don't mess it up. They're basically saying, don't mess it up. This is the only way it is. So that is how these chants, imagine, see, when did printing technology come? When did writing come? It's a recent thing. When did the word itself come? It's a recent thing. But orally things have been passed on in our culture for thousands of years. That is the great beauty of this,
The next thing what he has asked is, you have already recited that mantra. Can we recite any mantra or slokam in the Ganapataha way?
Yes, actually, to get more information on that, you go to that YouTube link which I said, ghanapati.com, Mr. Suresh Bhatt. He is like he's done chartered accountancy, this, that. He has so many degrees and he's worked in all kinds of places, but he has, taken early retirement just to do all this. So what he has done is, and I didn't even know this, Rudram, every verse, he has put it in Ganapataha. Imagine that. For those who know the Rudram, it is like, that is a big thing. Imagine learning to do that. Oof. Amazing. I would love to do that one day.
Next is Snehal wanted the link. Snehal, you will get the link from Felista. She will be sharing with everybody, every center. Then next one is Darshana Dala, asking, what is the Aditya Mantra for eyesight? Where can we learn it? Aditya Mantra.
Aditya Hridayam. You can chant the Aditya Hridayam.
Aditya Mantra. Yes.
Aditya Mantra. I don't know what Aditya Mantra is. Are you talking about Aditya Hridayam only?
I don't know. He can, the Darshana only can explain. Is it possible, Felista, for bringing Darshana on the spotlight and unmute her?
Ma'am, she can unmute and talk.
Darshana, please unmute.
Yes,
Okay.
I want to know that mantra 95, you said, no, for eyesight.
Oh, that is part of the Saundarya Lahari. You just take the Saundarya Lahari, verse 95. And there is also one verse in the Aditya Hridayam which is very good for eyesight. I'm trying to remember which one it is. I'll send it to Felista when yes. When you have cataract surgery, this is something which my teacher told me. Hello?
Yeah, ma'am, continue.
Okay, so this is something my teacher told me. I just found it. verse number 20 of Aditya Hridayam, she said, for when you have cataract surgery and things like that, for your eyes, no? Or you just want to pray, like for even me, I wear glasses and things like that. So
No,
I'm
I have glaucoma.
okay. Then definitely I would suggest 95 of Saundarya Lahari, and you do this also. Verse 20 of Aditya Hridayam.
Okay, you'll be sending the link.
No, I don't have any link. Just go to the Saundarya Lahari and Aditya Hridayam. You can download from the net. Verse 20. Just make a note of it. Verse 20, Saundarya Lahari, verse 95. If you don't have a book, you just go online. I'm telling you everything you can find online.
Okay.
Are you comfortable, Darshana?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now the next person who is asking, for all appreciation only giving.
Somebody has asked, when does a shloka become a mantra? Gayatri's mantra.
I have not seen that question so far.
Somebody called Ramani Ayur.
Maybe
So
later.
a shloka is a verse actually, right? So a mantra is something which can be repeated for meditation purpose. Both or everything is a protection, because everything is, you're divinizing many things. So even if you take, for instance, the Buddhism, right? Or if you take Mr. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Thich Nhat Hanh, the famous Buddhist monk, right? Who started the Plum Village in France, the monastery. Mindfulness is what he teaches. So what he says is, when you are washing dishes, you wash dishes as if you are born only to do that one action. We should be so mindful in our life, So when you are mindful about every single small thing, and I have to say, I am not that way. This is something which I keep telling myself, and my son constantly keeps criticizing me. He says, look at you, you talk all this Vedanta and you gets angry so fast. Okay. So that it is an aspirational goal. I want to get there someday. At least it's there in my mind, So be very much in that moment. You do only that. Don't, and especially women, we have a tendency to multitask, because by nature we are forced to do that. You have to answer this one, you have to put the food on the table, you have to make sure that things are happening correctly around you. So much to do, right? So we have a tendency to multitask, but actually we should try to be 100% in just that one thing which we are doing, and we will do it better. This is something which I want to learn to do better.
All ladies are expert in multitasking. I can do maximum 2 or 3 only, not more than. Now somebody from Bangalore, Chavadi. Name is not there, only iPhone it is showing. Bangalore, Chavadi, with Chavadi also is not there. Oh, how will I get the number? Felista will share all that information. Okay.
I want to respond to something which Thomas has said. Despite not being in my culture and upbringing, I enjoyed our session. So
yes,
to Mr. Thomas, I want to say this. I had sent Felista a beautiful article, and the article was research which was done on chanting Ave Maria, as well as some of our Hindu mantras. Okay. And they were talking about the benefits of chanting. So I want to reiterate that it does not matter what you chant. Even if you're saying Allahu Akbar and you're chanting on that, you're meditating on that, okay, it 100% has benefits. Okay, not at all. It is not. See, when I teach Bhagavad Gita at the Shivananda ashrams, right, it is one part of the curriculum for a 1-month course on teachers training certification in yoga. Okay, they're all there. I did it myself as a student, and then later I was invited to come and teach there, and that's how I do it. Now, I have students who are from Islamic countries, Christian countries, Buddhist countries, all over the world. People are coming from all across the world to this. So at no point am I saying, hey, you stop all that, give up all this and come to this. No, Vedanta is not such a thing. please continue going to the church, going to the mosque, and going to do everything. Especially one Muslim lady I had, she said, there are so many beautiful things which I've learned from the Gita, and there are beautiful things which I have found in the Quran. And how do I balance both? And I said, yeah, you just continue with the Quran, and you will be able to see, there are, everything is, all religions are the same only, which is why actually Hinduism today, sadly, we are in a going through a phase of intolerance. But that is not the Vedantic culture at all. The Vedantic culture is to say, hey, everything is God. So it doesn't matter what religion you're practicing, which is why actually we ended up having 33 crore gods, because everything is actually God. There is nothing which is not God. Everything is God, whether it is a mountain, rock, whatever. Everything is the same combination in different proportions of the elements. That's it, right? So
you have read Thomas' post and you have responded.
yeah, I responded to that, Tom.
Very
Yes.
good. Once again, Nagaraj was telling, where do we learn Ganapatha?
I would suggest that you learn it from a teacher. Please don't learn it from YouTube.
Good.
Because there are so many. See, I get students who come to me. I teach, Vishnu Sahasranam. I teach everything, Vedic chanting, all that. Whatever a little I know, I share with people. And people say, I know Lalita Sahasranam. I want to learn Vishnu Sahasranam. So I say, okay, just chant Lalita for me, right? And we'll just see. So they will chant. Now, if I'm stopping them every verse with 2-3 mistakes, then it is not that they don't know. But if you have learned from YouTube, YouTube is not going to say, hey, stop, you made a mistake here. YouTube will continue, you will continue, but nobody is there to correct you. So I have had people like that. Thankfully, they already knew to read Devanagari script. They knew Sanskrit. So teaching them Lalita Sahasranam took only 1 month. But I have students who are learning Lalita Sahasranam for 1 year, because it's only 1 class a week. And slowly with constant correction, because I am very focused on sound and correcting. It is like that. So I would suggest you please look for a Ganapata teacher wherever in your neighborhood or wherever you want, and please go only with a teacher.
Right, that's good. The next question or the post what is put there is our senior member from Chennai chapter, Deputy Chief Dignitarian, Chennai chapter, Krishna Swami. He has put that I need clarification on Gita.
Sir, I'm not at all an expert, sir. In Shivananda Ashram, they told me you must come and teach. That is why I went and taught very little I know. I don't know much at all. So please, sir, don't ask me questions which I cannot answer. I have a recommendation though.
Yeah.
I have at least I think 20-30 copies of Gita in my house. Okay. One book which I love and which I find very, very good, Swami Dayananda Saraswati, because the English is modern. I have Swami Shivananda's also. Even though I teach at Shivananda, I use Swami Shivananda's and I use Swami Dayananda Saraswati's. Now, Swami Shivananda's language is archaic because he wrote in the 50s, But I mean, I consider him, even though I've never met him in my life, I consider him as my guru, because I got into Gita teaching because of Shivananda and through him. So I always make sure that I use it for the Shivananda classes. Swami Dayananda has a 9-volume set on Adi Shankara's Bhashyam. The advantage for me is because I'm not good at any one Indian language 100%. It is in English. So I love it. 9-volume set on Adi Shankara's Bhashyam of Bhagavad Gita. So it is fantastic. He gives very modern examples. The language is modern. He's a deep thinker. So I really think, and he himself has said that he encourages, it's called the Bhagavad Gita Home Study book. So it is meant for people to actually get together. And I think there are two, 3 people in your group itself who are teaching this. On Fridays, I know one person is teaching. I don't know who. So in Chennai, I know. So you all can decide, hey, let's get together and just read the books. Every week we'll get together once, we'll read to each other and we'll discuss it. That's it. You can even do it every day, in under lockdown. That's one of the best ways you can spend your time. So Swami Dayananda has said that along with the 9-volume set, that the 10th book, which I would recommend, it is a standalone book. He's written a fat book like that on the Vishnu Sahasranama, a commentary, again through using Adi Shankara's Bhashyam. It's a fat book. Each and every single nama is explained. Beautiful book because it has cover. So these 10 books, he says, if you read it, it will give you a thorough understanding of Vedanta. So I highly recommend that. Yeah.
That not only answers his question, for general, for everybody, the matter is very clear.
Yes.
After
I
hearing.
highly recommend those books. And another great thing, they have an app now. So you can just download the app, and every time you want to buy one particular book, you just pay for that one particular book. And that app gives you access to all his teachings. So
That's
he has
very-
many things, he has many little books also, which are very nice. The daily lectures, why stress, and notes on, especially, going through all that we are going through today. You can just read any of those little booklets also.
There are 51 new messages from now. I will quickly go
sir?
through and
Okay.
see whether questions are there.
Okay.
I think some of them which you have already answered.
Yes, Mr. Shivakumar has asked a question. Chanting with a vibrating tone like Ohm helps in producing nitric oxide, which has been found to fight COVID. I have read this too, but I really don't want to say yes, it is true or not, because I generally, because of my academic background, I tend to go with well-published research, that kind of thing. I don't know, sir. I don't know how to answer that. But one thing I know, and I will share, when you chant Om, I tell people, you don't know anything else, you just chant Om. See, Om is not just a very, I would say a sound which is a Hindu type of thing. If you look at the Islamic thing, they have Ameen, okay? And if you look at Christianity, they have Amen, right? Why is it that all of us have the same combination of sounds? There's got to be something there, right? Om is supposed to be the primal sound of creation of this entire universe, galaxy, whatever you want itself, right? That is the belief. Now, if you take Om, you just do it as a lung exercise. Sit down in a corner and you just do. If you don't know music, nothing, doesn't matter. Just do every day. Try to do as long as you can, maybe 5 minutes. After your bath, sit down in a corner, facing east or north, okay? And just say, don't stop with the im. When your mouth closes, right? Continue with the im sound. If you observe yourself, you will find that you will feel a buzzing in your skull itself when you do that.
Correct.
Okay.
I have experience.
Yes, you will experience it. It will be like the buzzing of a bee. Now the sound im is supposed to be a healing sound. You might have heard of this guru called Sri M, right? He's actually a Muslim by birth, and he has, he had a kind of calling, and he went off to the Himalayas as a young boy, and he teaches Vedanta. He lives now in Andhra Pradesh, I think. He spent a lot of time at the Rishi Valley School with Jiddu Krishnamurti, and now he set up his own place. Sri M, he says, if he has a series of lectures which came out of IIT Delhi. Okay, IIT Delhi did a series of lectures, asked him to give a series of lectures on the Bhagavad Gita. It's just about 9 lectures, I think. Very interesting, really well done. Sri M, you Google it, you'll find it. Okay, so you go and listen to that. In that, he says that im sound is a healing sound, and your body knows this sound, the im part of Om. So don't neglect that sound. So take a breath in, and on the outward breath, you do Om. And right when your lungs are going to give up and doesn't have any more breath, with that im, continue as long as you can. Wonderful lung exercise in today's time. Do it any number of times, whenever you want, whenever you have time. No problem, right? Just do it. And that im, don't neglect that sound. Okay. So that's all I can say about that. Yeah.
Going ahead, is there any pain relief mantra, particularly for pain? Is there anything?
I can't. I didn't think of that. So I'll just think over it, and I'll pass it on to Celesta. Yeah.
That will be very nice.
Note of it. I'll make a note of it. Yeah.
Pain relief mantra. Any mantra for pain relief.
Okay. Okay.
Smita Dar wants to know what is the name of the app which you have mentioned.
I think it's called Arsha Vidya, I think. Arsha Vidya, I think. But if you Google, you will find it. Swami Dayananda Saraswati app. That's it. Google is our savior.
Then another one about Brahmari Pranaya.
Yes,
So
yes.
produces
Nitric oxide.
Nitric
Yes.
oxide. Is it true?
I don't want to comment, sir, on things which I don't know at all. I don't want to say anything. I've only heard about it. Yes, I have heard about it.
Prabha wants to know whether you'll be sending the Tavajnana mantra recording. You said that you will send some recording.
No, not for Tavagnya. I'm going to send Atrinatwa, which is the virus killing mantra that I will definitely send. Tavagnya Chakra, for those of you who want, actually, you can just get it on YouTube. You go and type in Soundarya Lahari, verse 95, it will come up.
Okay. I think that,
whichever verse you want, there are people who have done all the 100 verses, and so many variations are there, but there is one where you just do verse 1 and that one verse will come up, verse 2 it will come up. Okay.
That's all. I can see the number of questions in the post. Thank you very much, ma'am, for patiently explaining the things. And over to Felista. You take over.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. We could see some, I'm not audible, huh?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We could really feel some peaceful sense, after attending the session.
Yes,
and the mood and everything is.
There's so much of beauty in the world, but we have to explore it.
Given some translation.
I'll conclude with one chant which Swami Omkarananda actually sent out. He sent this out just before he fell ill himself. Actually, he sent it out about 2-3 weeks back, and he sent it to the people of Chennai, because Chennai was getting to be really bad, and he told everybody to chant this if possible. So this, I'm taking the sankalpa of not only good health for the whole world, especially for the people of India, especially for the people in centers like Delhi, Bombay, where there is really, people are going through very, very bad times. That's our sankalpa, that everybody should have peace and good health, right? I'll conclude with this chant. Om Mrityunjayaya Rudraya Neelakantaya Shambhave Jum Saha Sarvan Lokajanan Mrityoho Mochaya Rogan Nashaya Ayuhu Vardhaya Sahajum Amriteshaya Sharvaya Mahadevaya Te Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all. God bless all of us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.